Hi, kiddos. Thanks for coming back to Grandpa Ken's. What do you say we have some fun with one of our favorite characters? No, not Pete. Not you, Pete. No, not you. Hush, hush. What do you say we have fun with one of our favorite characters? Curious George. It's his first day at school, kiddos. Have you had a first day at school yet? And as always, this is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was so excited he could barely eat his breakfast. You have a big day ahead of you, George, said his friend, the man with the yellow hat. See? They have a big day coming. And George is so excited. Have you ever been excited enough, kiddos? It's tough to eat breakfast. Yeah. It was a big day for George. It was the first day of school, and he had been invited to be a special helper. George and his friend walked together to the schoolyard. Some of the children were nervous, but George couldn't wait for the fun to begin. In the classroom, George's friends introduced him to Mr. Apple. "Thank you for inviting George to school today," the man with the yellow hat said to the teacher. Then he waved goodbye. "Have a good day, George. I'll be back to pick you up after school." Yep, just like when your grown-ups drop you off and they say, "I'll be back." They always do, don't they? Yep. The children were kind of excited to see a monkey in class. "George is going to be our special helper," Mr. Apple told them. And what a helper he was. At story time, George held the book. And at math time, the children could count on George, huh? Look at, they were counting his toes and his fingers. They were counting on George. Yeah, that's kind of a funny way, huh? And at recess, well, George sure made everybody have a ball and well-balanced snack. And after lunch, Mr. Apple got out paints and brushes. George saw red, yellow, and blue paint. These three colors were not very many. George was curious. Could he help make more colors? Uh-oh. Look at all the balls he got out for everybody. Yeah, and then now they're getting ready for art, and curiosity is getting to George. First, George mixed red and blue to make, do you know what that makes, kiddos? What'd you say? Yep, purple. You're right. Next, George mixed red and yellow to make, how about that one? What'd you say? Yep, orange. Then George mixed yellow and blue to make green. Yep. And finally, George mixed all the colors to make, what do you think, kiddos? He's mixing all the colors to make a big mess. Uh-oh. The children thought the mess was funny. I bet you they all laughed, don't you? But Mr. Apple didn't think it was funny. "Oh dear," he said. "We're going to need something to clean this up. Everyone, please sit quietly while I look." Oh, look at what George did, kiddos. Ooh, there's paint everywhere. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. George didn't mean to make such a mess, and he certainly didn't want to sit quietly. He never does. He wanted to help. It was his job, after all. George had an idea. In the hallway, George found a closet. In the closet, he found a bucket, and in the bucket, he found just what he needed. What did he need, kiddos? What do you think that George needed to help with the mess? What do you think? It was a mop and a bucket with water in it. George was on his way back to the classroom when he heard someone yell, "Stop! Stop! What are you doing with my mop?" The janitor ran after George. "Stop! Stop! No running in the halls. The principal ran after the janitor. But George was going too fast to stop. He grabbed the doorway, swung inside. He swung inside, and then, what do you think? Whoosh! The bucket tipped, the mop dropped, and George slid across the floor. Now the mess was even bigger. Oh, George. Mr. Apple looked surprised. The principal frowned. The janitor just shook his head. And poor George, he felt terrible. Maybe he wasn't such a good helper after all. Oh no, he's starting to doubt himself. You can't do that just because you make a mistake. The children felt pretty terrible too. They didn't like to see George looking so sad. They thought he was a great helper. Now they wanted to help him. So the children lent a hand and some feet. Look at they pitched in together as a team and started cleaning. Yeah, and helped. And before anyone knew it, the mess was gone. That little monkey sure is helpful, the janitor said. It looks like Mr. Apples has a whole class full of helpers, the principal added. And at the end of the day, when George's friend arrived to pick him up, Mr. Apple said, "Thank you for all your help, George. We hope you'll come and help us again." The children cheered. They hoped George would come again. What do you think, kiddos? Did he prove that it's a good thing to be a team? Yeah, and help each other and your friends? George waved goodbye to his new friends. What a great day it had been. He couldn't wait to come back to school. See, saying bye to all of his new friends. That is the great part about school, kiddos. You get to make new friends and learn new things. And learning new things is as important as anything you'll ever do. Well, Grandpa Ken says thanks for coming. Have fun and love you lots. And get ready for Halloween. The 7 days of Halloween are coming on Thursday starting. See you later. Bye.